All right, what's going on? This is the Pat Shan podcast. Um, you know what? Starting this podcast, we did one episode last year with Raven Gregory, big fat fuck, good friend of mine. In case you don't know the dynamic, then we did starting last month. Started to do a lot more. Started to do Charlie Stickney. We did Dan Leister, and then today we're doing actually two in one day. We did Clay Adams to start, and then now we're doing Marcel Dupree. We're having slight technical issues. Marcel is trying to start his laptop, but until he is on that, he's going to be on his phone. That's all good. But for now, while Marcel is working on getting back in the studio, I did boot him mistakenly. What is going on? He'll be here momentarily. I actually just got a new phone, and I noticed a habit of mine. Um, I I'm not nice in the fucking Verizon store. I'm I'm an asshole. I'm an asshole in the Verizon store. I don't know what it is. I always feel with things like buying new phones, buying computers, I feel I feel the language of scam. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like when I walk in and they're using technical terms, it's things like this. It's things like say someone who doesn't know much about cars, your boy, walks into a mechanic and they start talking carburetor. They start talking ignition. They start talking keys to the ignition, especially about the kitchen. It's confusing. You don't know what's going on. And that's what I kind of feel about Verizon. I kind of feel going in on the defensive. I don't like it. What if the salesman is just doing their best, right? And I'm an asshole. I just want my iPhone and I want to not be tricked. Is that too much to ask? I don't think it's too much to ask. I I just feel when I go in this defensiveness that I don't like. And it's you know, I try to be a nice guy to everyone, but like I'll hear an edge in my voice and I'll hear doubt. And we have Marcel here. I'll add him in 1 second. I feel doubt coming off in everything that they say. I'll they'll try to sell me on a certain item and a certain plan, and I'll be like looking for the holes in it, and I don't like it, but I also don't want to get scammed. But that's enough of that. We have Marcel is here. Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
I sure can. Do you have video?
Yeah, I do. I have terrible lighting. Let me put the camera on up. I have terrible lighting. All right.
Oh no, it's all good. It's all good. Hello.
Hello.
It's almost like a kind of holy lighting. It's the backlit. You have an angelic glow to you.
Thanks.
I feel like a great deal of the people who you talk to online don't know what you look like.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's up to you how deep you want to get into stuff. But sometimes you'll have these kind of intense exchanges, and I do wonder if they could see your face, if they could see that you're a human behind the computer, if it would be the same. You've written about groups on Facebook that you've you've had a bit of a clash with, huh?
Yeah. I'm like clashing with everybody basically.
Why? Why do you think that is?
Um, with the blurred/black nerd groups, I have an abrasive personality. I'm very
Yeah,
passionate about supporting Black creators,
yeah, yeah.
and the fact that they don't do it, but they talk about they want representation pisses me off. And so
Yeah.
I tend to like call them out on that. They don't like that.
You feel as if you are a Black creator who's doing work that they specifically aren't supporting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that too. That you'll you made posts to the effect that you'll put out a cover that has original Black characters, and you made points that you'll find that sometimes that you don't find that getting as much traction as like say like a breast centric cover, right?
Correct.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely, I was actually talking today earlier to Clay Adams, and we're talking about how Kickstarter, it has such, there are built-in fan bases. There's Cthulhu, right?
Yeah.
People love that, and there's Titty, and you know, it's I think that sometimes it kind of goes both ways because I feel both, I feel in defense of breast focused literature because, I came up writing for Zenoscope and a lot of the Zenoscope covers have that element, but the stories are what they are. I feel like those kind of covers are good. They're for the collector's market. And I think that you
Yeah,
you definitely are one of the few that has, you have your finger on the pulse of the collector's market.
yeah, I tried. But watching other people do, I watch Coffin Comics, I watch Xenoscope,
Yeah.
take notes from what they do, and try to implement it in a way that works best for me.
And I noticed that you write a lot of your stuff, but not all of it, right?
Not all of it. I have a co-writer or I just do an outline. I publish a few people. I used to publish more, but that didn't turn out well, so I stopped doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very interesting model. And let me just dial back for a second. I'm going to introduce here Marcel Dupree, and I want to make sure that I pronounce the publisher name correctly. I have two versions in my head. Um, I've always said in my head Evoluzione, but
yeah,
that's right.
yeah. It's Italian.
Okay, very good. Yeah, because I also thought maybe it could have been like just a fancy way of evolution, but Evoluzione is right, right?
Yes, I
Yeah.
wanted to call it Evolution, but it was taken, so I went with the Italian version.
I mean, it's smart, dude. I made the mistake of not doing enough research when I named my company. My first name was Continuity Entertainment,
Oh,
and
yeah,
yeah, and I didn't know, I didn't grow up reading comics. I grew up more of like a TV and theater guy. Um, I enjoyed some comics as a kid, but I didn't know of Continuity Comics, So
yeah,
we did our first Kickstarter for Destiny New York, and we didn't get noticed. And then I put out a press release where I named Shannon Lee the editor in chief of Continuity. And that day, I got a call from Neil Adams' studio
yeah,
saying, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I was like, "I don't know what the problem is." And they explained what the fucking problem was,
yeah,
uh, and I had to change it. And that's because I didn't do enough research. So that definitely good on you for going Italian with it.
yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, and I definitely want to make sure that the pronunciation is right out there because you know, as I spent a long time as a Zenoscope editor, and just the pronunciations are crazy. You hear people say Zenoscope, you hear Zenoscope, so it's definitely important to get the brand right. And it's an interesting brand, man. What I notice about you is you seem to, I called you in the write up for this podcast. I called you the busiest man on Kickstarter, and it seems that's the case. Because you, I mean, I was gonna say one per month, but it seems more than one per month, right?
Yeah, it's about on average three.
Three per month, huh?
Yeah,
That's crazy. So all right, so that's single issue comics, and how
yeah.
how long is each issue?
22 pages, 22 to 30 pages, whatever we feel like.
Damn, 22 to 30. And is that strictly on Kickstarter or is it in Diamond as well or what?
We want to go on Diamond, but no, it's strictly Kickstarter, Indiegogo, Gumroad. It was Comixology until that kind of shut down.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's
Indie
kind of
Planet. So
wow.
yeah, we try to
Yeah.
cast a wide net.
Yeah, it's very interesting because there's a lot of talk on Kickstarter too about uh the creators who are allowed to do multiple campaigns at once and those who aren't. And personally, my mode is this. I've been doing it for a long time, and I feel comfortable where I have five in some level of funding slash production at once. I'll
Mm,
have one funding, I'll have three in production, and I'll have one delivering, hopefully. um and but you must always be in a state of either production or delivery, huh?
yeah, it's constant.
And Yeah, what I wonder a lot is this, because uh some of the, and this is part of, I want to hear your thoughts on this, and I'll just start with mine a little bit. I
Okay.
do feel like the role of Kickstarter comics in mainstream media, right? In the mainstream comics press. I do feel like they cover us when it's either huge news, like Keanu is doing a
Yeah.
Kickstarter, right? Or they'll do an article like they did on you.
Yes. They
Yeah,
cover only time I've been covered is when it was bad.
yeah. There's no Marcel Dupree launches LaFay, right?
And it's crazy because that site covered me for positive stuff, but doesn't mention my name or my company.
Yeah.
They mention the books, but not my name or my company, which is crazy.
And how do you feel about that? Do you feel any of the negativity is justified, or do you think it's just looking for clicks? How do you feel about it, and how do you respond to it?
It was justified. I was extremely late. I was not communicating, which if you're going to be late, you need to communicate. So it was justified.
Yeah. Okay.
Do I feel like the backlash I got from other creators was justified? No. Like I was getting
Okay.
screenshots of creators writing updates about me, and
Yeah.
that was not cool. Like I think creators took it out of proportion because it's really none of their business. It's between the backers and I.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. That dude. I don't know how you feel about it. I know it's putting you in the spot. I would love to at some point. I would love to do a part two. I would love to get you and a friend of mine as well in here, the three of us, and just talk through shit. And you already know who I'm talking about.
That friend, I don't mind talking to him.
Yeah, it'll be fun, man. I mean, I see your exchanges, and while stuff can get heated, I think it'll be fun to talk about it. We've all listen. Anyone who is in comics is gonna at some point have disagreements and have some bullshit happen.
Yeah,
And yeah, I feel like it's always worth talking about. Like, and your perspective is interesting because you're both a creator and a publisher, and so your perspective on the creators is that um they fulfilled their part by doing the work, and now the delivery issue is between you and backers.
yes, and somewhat like for the situation you're talking about, I felt that's a long story. It's like it was. How can I put it? Because I don't want to create any drama.
Oh, no. I mean any drama. I mean, I've talked to both
Mm-hmm.
you. I've seen it play out online. Definitely don't got to get into the specifics there.
Yeah.
That I would save for like a trio
Okay.
podcast. I'm just
Um.
interested in how you as a
Oh, in
publisher
general.
navigate that.
Okay. In general, we're all partners. The creators and our partners. So we should all be worried about fulfillment. And that's fair because I agree. It's your name. You probably brought an audience, so you should
Yeah, yeah,
worry about that.
yeah,
That's very fair. So I think as long as if we have a disagreement, keep it between us, not play out in the public.
yeah.
It's fine because I have disagreements with almost all my creators about something at some point.
Almost
That's fine.
all, you think?
Almost all, yeah. But it's like minor stuff, like hey, I'm not getting enough attention.
Okay,
Hey, yeah, stuff like that. Minor stuff, not like big stuff like with that person.
okay.
But yeah, we have disagreements. Like I have other creators who have had late books, and it's my fault. They're not like going online yelling about it. They're like talking to me about
Yeah.
it. We're getting it done.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I mean, I've been in both places, dude. I've been a creator. I mean, dude, I wrote some books for I mean, I feel kind of bad saying the company, but they're gone now. It was a company called Joe Books, and I wrote a Zootopia graphic novel, and I wrote two Charm novels and four Marvel novels. The Marvel novels all came out. I was paid for three of them. uh, Zootopia and Charmed never came out, and the company dissolved. And yeah, I felt the way about it. I felt like things could have been handled better. The communication could have been better. And then on my end, as a publisher too, I've had instances where I could have communicated better to creators as well. And it's definitely, it's when we're in both seats, I find it's kind of hard to take off the creator hat. I always try to, I try to do what's best for myself as a business person, but sometimes both interfere. The
Yeah,
creator side interferes, and the publisher has a problem with that too.
yeah, I agree. Like I try to think of the creator side. I tend to also think about I have all these other people to feed.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that trumps what just one individual creator might be going through. I have to focus on all these other people that I have to feed. Like there are people who depend on
yeah.
me, literally work only for me, and so I have
Oh,
to
you,
make
you
sure.
have exclusive artists.
They choose to be exclusive. So
Mhm.
yeah, they choose to work exclusively for me, or some might work with other people, but they primarily work for me. And so my concern is making sure that they have food every month. They're able to pay their bills every month.
Yeah, yeah.
So if something is late, I'm sorry it's late. It sucks, but I have all these other people to worry about. So I have to keep going.
I hear you. Does that sounds like a lot of pressure on you? Do you ever feel like you want to decrease the workload, or do you feel kind of like, do you feel tied to the workload that you had to keep going to feed those mouths?
Um, Before I felt like I had to.
Yeah,
Now it's I don't have to. There's no pressure really.
yeah,
I'm working with everybody I work with makes it easy now. Like before, when I was publishing other creators, I
yeah.
felt pressure. But now
Oh,
since it's mainly,
okay.
but since it's mainly only my content, I don't really feel pressure. I just we all know what we have to do. We all get it done, and it runs pretty smoothly for the most part now. You have
Gotcha.
some
Yeah,
issues with like paper shortages, shipping. Some people miss their deadlines, but that's normal stuff. But yeah, for the most part, it's
yeah,
way easier now.
yeah. And the way that you do it, as far as all these campaigns, is it that you like the grind, or is it that you have so many stories that you want to tell?
It's both. I have so many stories I want to tell. I like to grind.
Yeah.
I love art. Like I
Oh,
love
yeah.
art.
Yeah, the excitement of art coming in, huh?
Yeah. I see art. I might see an artist. I'm like, ooh, I like that. Maybe we could work together. So I had to like stop looking online because I would always like find something I like and start something up, which is not the smart thing to do. Very fucking dumb.
Oh, yeah, no, dude, I do the same thing, I sometimes book way too far ahead, I'm talking to someone about doing a campaign, and she signed on, and the campaign can't even launch until best case scenario, September 2023, so it but I can't, I'll see the art, and I'll see what I'll do with it,
Exactly. That's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
I come across an artist online, I'm like, yo, it would be so good doing this. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely addictive. What I want to talk to you about too, though, that you mentioned a bit before, dive a bit deeper into it, is you mentioned about that you'd felt bad and that you felt justified with the article about not getting back to backers quick enough.
yeah,
What I think that people don't discuss enough is, and I also feel that, my I, I try to get back to backers within 24 hours, but what people don't discuss is the how the creative process and the managerial process is usually a lot more separate than what we do.
yeah,
With us, it's very strange to me. Like, when I grew up and I was reading someone's work, there would be such a huge gulf between me and the creator. I would be just a fan. And if I had a complaint, it would go into the ether.
yeah,
Um, but now, when a backer has a problem with a book, they're talking directly to the creator of the book. And
yeah,
and it does make me wish for kind of a buffer, but you know, a publisher is a buffer, not to that extent where I'm not the publisher anymore, but
yeah,
I do sometimes wish that, I could hire someone so I could have a bit more of a distance, because I feel it's hard to not take it personally when certain comments come in,
Oh,
because I
yeah,
mean I'm sure that you felt the same way. And um maybe that, because I wonder if that is what made you not want to respond quickly too. And you can delve into that too. But I'll see a comment about something that I could have never imagined someone would be upset about, like like some kind of a spot gloss thing, or that they weren't able to get this item. And sometimes instead of asking me for the item, they'll go straight to anger. And my instant thought is like, I mean, if you're such a big fan that you want it so bad, why aren't you fucking nice to me first? You know,
yeah,
and it kind of hurts, dude. You know?
it does. That is part of the reason why it takes me a while to get back to people. Because at times I used to be very petty. I've been going to therapy for that.
Yeah.
So if I would get a negative comment, the customer service would not be there.
Oh, so you would engage negatively?
No, I avoid it because I know I would do it. So I would just avoid it completely. I know if
Okay,
you're gonna be
gotcha,
if you're gonna be rude to me, I'm just gonna go off on you, and that's
yeah,
gonna make things
yeah.
even worse.
Have you ever had a situation where you didn't wait and you went off?
No, only on creators. I've now went off on a customer.
I mean, at least that's good, dude. You know, I didn't go off, but there was one time where a backer sensed frustration, and they sensed correctly, dude, because they were what they were doing was and this is like a funny story now. When it happened, I was really, really annoyed. It was Smoke Weeds to the Future, which funded in April last year.
Mhm.
And see, now we're late because we're waiting for printing. The international shit is a nightmare right now. Um, but at the time, they wrote me in June, and the book was like just entering major production. We were 2 months out of the first launch, so we were only off Kickstarter for like less than a whole month. And he wrote me, and he was like, "Hey, since you guys are late, can I get a refund?" And I was like, "Bro, like we aren't due for a year, you know?" And he goes, "Oh well, I misread it. Can I still get a refund?" And I tried to facilitate that refund because I mean, anytime someone wants a refund, I'm happy to do it. But the impatience, and he began to send, instead of one paragraph, he would send an email with like one sentence each, and just like my inbox was like bang, 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 bang,
Wow.
and yeah, it was very annoying. And I, I wrote him, and I was like, "Hey, pause here. If you could just, instead of sending a barrage of emails, if you could send one, I'll be able to read it, think about it, and respond in a way that'll help you get your issue resolved quicker." And
Mhm.
I said that, and he could sense that I was annoyed because he said, "Hey, I'm your customer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera." And it's so hard to deal with that frustration as a creator, because even when the customer is in the right, when they're upset, uh, and it's not a thing that has to do with the story,
Mhm.
it's hard to not take it a little personally.
Like I work with special ed, and so we're supposed to like when one of the students get upset, we're supposed to disengage and ignore. So I kind of do that with people when they're angry in customer service. I'm not going to engage because we can't have a proper conversation,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
not really good customer service. I can admit that, but I don't want to start a back and forth where you're not going to like me, where you have a
Yeah.
very terrible experience because I said something not cool.
Yeah, it makes sense. I am glad that you said that you're working on it too, because you've seen this before too. People will people paint Kickstarter with one brush. Like say someone got fucked over on a campaign in their mind, that the book didn't come. um they can sometimes they'll post that Kickstarter is unreliable, when really, if that happened in the direct market, they wouldn't say, "Oh, comics are unreliable." They would say that creator or that publisher is. But with
Yeah.
Kickstarter, for some reason, we're seen as this idea, this community. And it's so I am glad to see that you one, that you don't want to, kind of get into it with customers, but also, that you want to also work it out to the point where you are getting back to them quicker? Because
Yeah.
you've mentioned in the past that the reason that you end up having late product is because you're a perfectionist, right?
Yes, I am. Like, I will nitpick at a panel. Like, and some people are cool with it. Well, cre- some creators are cool with it. Like working with Greg, when I used to work with Greg. Greg is also a perfectionist. But the
Yeah.
difference between Greg is he gets his stuff done before he kickstarts it. Me,
Yeah.
I'm doing it in the middle of it. So I'm gonna nitpick while we're in production.
Yeah, I do the same thing too. I'm trying to get into the mode where I do more before, but
Mhm.
I mean generally I'll do between 4 to 10 pages pre-campaign and then I'll do the rest once we have the money. Um but yeah, you know what I wonder because I saw you post that. I saw you post that you're a perfectionist
Yeah,
and I don't know how if you feel the same way as me about this, but when I'm working with an artist and I'm giving notes, I get notes from both my editor Shannon and I have my take. I'll put them in one document and I'll go through it. And I have in the back of my mind that there is a level of note giving I can hit where the artist will say, you know what? After this book is done, fuck these guys, you know?
yeah.
So I try to keep in mind that if I see a note that would make me love a panel a little more, but wouldn't impact the reader, sometimes I'll pull back a bit. Do you do the same thing, or do you just go full out?
I kind of go full out, but I've never had an artist. I've never really had an artist complain.
Oh,
They're,
ever,
they,
huh?
no, because they usually see what I'm talking about.
Okay,
I'm like, yo, this eye's off right here, or this line is kind of weird. This
okay,
facial expression. Usually they agree,
okay. I mean,
and the way we do it is we have a production group chat. So we post all art in the group chat. Everybody says has their say.
okay,
So it might not just be me. It might be sometimes the artist might not like the colors, so he's gonna give a bunch of notes on the colors.
gotcha. So
Yeah,
that's for each title or for the whole company?
for each title. Each title has their own production group chat, and the whole team goes in on that and picks apart what they don't like or what they do like.
That's interesting. Yeah, I do things somewhat similar. We have a group chat for each title where the artist submits and we see come in, but I do a separate chat with Shannon for editorial because we do want to make sure that the comments that come in are softened a bit,
Yeah,
because like sometimes we'll have to have a conversation because we have these established characters that different artists will be doing over a period of time, like
yeah,
for example, on Destiny New York, we've had 4 different artists have main long runs because the volumes are about like 200 pages each, so it's been a long running thing. And sometimes we'll have to have a conversation where we'll be like, this artist cannot do that character too well. We have to work on that character. Um, do you have any series that overlap that way where you have different artists working on similar characters?
I'm kind of like for our superhero titles, some of the characters do cross over,
Yeah,
but for the most part, we try to keep the same artist on the series.
yeah.
We rarely change. I think I've only changed with POM because
Okay.
Joe quit doing comics. So I had to change to Ariel. But most of the time, we keep the same artist on everything. Oh, yeah, and I had to change on Titanium Blade. Mateo had to leave, so I switched to Hendrix.
Mm, yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, we keep the same people. And when we do have like a variant artist do a cover, I submit it to to the original artist
Oh, that's
to get
cool.
their approval to make sure they're cool with it. Because I feel like it's their character too. They put their blood, sweat, and tears into it. So I get
Damn, I
their
mean, yeah,
approval.
that's a very that's an interesting take. I don't do that, but it's interesting. Like that might even be part of that perfectionism that you want everyone who was involved in the DNA to see that. We have
Yes.
Kevin Cuff comments. I just realized that Pat Shane's older brother is Jim Gaffigan. I'll take it, dude. I'll take it. Um, Yeah, man, it's definitely interesting to hear your process, because I feel like people with your stuff, I wonder, because I mean, you and I had a private conversation about this, about what people see in your stuff, if they see the title or if they see you. And you
Yeah,
have made a purposeful choice to have a bit less of you, like you don't show your face too much. You really put it like comic book forward.
yeah. I want the work to speak for itself, not really me speaking for the work. Because
And do and it as part of that, you have these multiple different Kickstarter accounts where you have different names. What I wonder, do people know that it's you? Like, do they
yeah,
follow it from brand to brand?
yeah, they follow it because I have each Kickstarter account has one big email list. So
Okay,
everyone's on the email list, and I in the updates I'm like, yo, here's more from Evoluzione, so they know that it's the
gotcha,
company. Like there are some
gotcha.
people that only follow my company. They follow me for account to account and only back my stuff.
That's cool. Yeah, I had two accounts where I did I have my normal Pat Shan account, and I have Space Between, which I was doing for a while as his own account. But what I started to not like was where I would be on these streams and people would ask how many Kickstarter campaigns I've done, and I would say the number, and then they would bring it up, and it would show my account, and it would have fewer, and I'll be like, oh well, that's because the other two were there, and I had one over there, and people
Yeah,
don't really get that it was me,
yeah.
I think. But yeah, you've the structure of it is it's very interesting to watch, because those are I believe those are imprints, right?
No, each ID has its own account.
Oh, I didn't even know that. So
Yeah,
how many accounts do you have?
I don't, I don't know offhand.
God
After
damn.
I go through the list, yeah,
Because
each IP. So I have the, I'm trying to create fans of. I want to create fans of the overall brand, but I know
yeah,
that's not going to be feasible sometimes.
okay.
So if you're only a fan of LaFay, you're only really going to hear about LaFay stuff. Like,
Okay.
I try to promote other stuff with LaFay, but LaFay audience has made it clear we only want LaFay. I don't give a fuck about the rest of your stuff, which is fair. You
Gotcha.
come for LaFay, that's all you want. Hey, that's all I'll talk to you about.
Have people have people use the idea of multiple accounts against you?
Only people that get mad at me. You're not like my backers don't care. My backers know what it is. It's usually critics that like they want to like tarnish me by saying I'm trying to hide. I'm
Yeah.
not hiding. Like my name's on my logo's on everything. My name's on everything. My name, if I wrote it, my name's on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that is one thing that I feel like if people follow you on social media, you can't say that you're hiding. I think that you're pretty out there and active,
Yeah,
and I think that if I tend to see some of your more intense moments with fans, or not fans, with the fan groups, and creators. That's not hidden. So I definitely don't think that they're right about you hiding.
no,
That's
I
very obvious. You
yeah,
know,
I mean all my flaws. I say who I am. Like people would want to bring up bleeding. Like every time they want to like get under my skin, someone wants to bring up you're a scammer. I'm like, yo, that's outdated. Some of that stuff is true. For the most part, it's outdated. I've hired a fulfillment company. It eats up a lot of my profits.
yeah.
But I want to make sure people get their stuff. Like I sucked at fulfillment. I'm not gonna lie. I was terrible.
Oh, so hold on. So with fulfillment, you have a company where you give them a piece of what you've done, and
No,
they'll
they charge me a fulfillment fee for like it's like $3 to $4 per package that they handle.
okay.
Yeah, and so I'm not even passing that. I don't pass that down to the customer. I just eat that. Hey,
It's intense.
I
It's
want
intense.
I want it to get done properly. I want you guys to get your stuff. I want to repair my name. I'll pay for fulfillment. I used to have a customer service rep.
Yeah.
It was my cousin. She quit because she got a better paying job.
Yeah.
So customer service kind of went downhill. But when she was working, people enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've paid money to make things better.
Yeah. Yeah. And things are overall in a better place now, you'd say, right?
Yeah, overall, there are still some stuff late, but we have a fulfillment. We have a policy where if we're late, you get $1 to $2 depending on how late we are.
Wait, hold on. So if if you deliver late, you'll send extra books.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Yeah, I've tried to see what I could do, dude. Because I did. This is very frustrating even to talk about still, because it always comes down to this. I'm looking to switch eventually to domestic printing, because right now the our biggest campaign, Thirsty, that got us the highest number of new backers who hadn't backed our stuff before.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, it was really cool. And we sent the book to print in November, and we do not have it. It arrived in the United States port on freight in early April, and it stayed in port for 2 months and was sent to customs about a week and a half ago, where it still is. And we
Wow.
haven't been able to ship that. And that's over 1,000 people who will believe in our brand when they get their book,
Yeah.
so I'm trying to figure out a way to enrich that, to apologize for the delay. And it's one of those things where, like, people, I think that you'll see the truth in this. People will read an apology and see it as taking fault. I don't really agree, like, I'm sorry it happened, but I couldn't have done better, you know?
Yeah. I get the I don't take responsibility, but because I lay out everything that happens.
Yeah.
If it, I try to be as transparent as possible. I want you to know what happened with your money, where is it going, what happened, because you're paying up front for something. So I try to be
Yeah.
as transparent. And sometimes when an artist is late, some people are like, "Oh, you're trying to pass the buck." No, I'm being honest with you. That's what happened. The artist is late.
Oh, yeah. That was one thing I was wondering too is, do you, when the artist is late, do you always say it, or do you ever protect that artist from that? Or what do you do? Because I struggle with that. There have been instances where I'm working with an artist that I know, if I say, "Hey guys, listen, I'm sorry the artist is late," the artist will see that and will then be like, "Fuck him," right? So
I've
how
had
do
that.
you mitigate that?
I've had one artist get mad at me, but I'm like, "Yo, I was telling the truth. You were late.
Yeah,
It is what it is."
yeah,
Like you say, after you went under the bus, I was just being honest.
yeah, yeah. It does. Yeah, that's one of the hardest parts, because you don't want to throw under the bus and you want to be honest with backers, but yeah, sometimes I've had to make sacrifices where I know I'll use an artist again when they're in a better place, and I
Hmm.
can't really expose that the shit's their fault. And I mean, because there have been times where it's been my fault. I've
Yeah.
had books, you know, right now, Smoke Weed will end up being about 3 months late because of port, but also it would have been only 2 months late if I had sent it to print ahead of what wasn't done yet. But I needed to wait and send 3 books at once instead of two. So I did wait, and that was my call, and I accept responsibility. But yeah, it's one of those things where there's so much that goes into it, and people don't really see that side of it. So it's interesting to put a face to your name, your brand, and hear you talk a bit about the behind the scenes and what goes into the shit.
Yeah. Like when I'm late, I straight up say, "Yo, I have writer's block right now. I'm not in the headspace to do it. It's my fault. I'm sorry." Like, even
Yeah,
if it's on me, I'm going to tell you it's on me. I
yeah,
want you to know what is the reason why you have to wait. I'm sorry you have to wait. I'll try to make it up to you by giving you a free product, but this is what's happening.
yeah. I relate to that. I This specific book wasn't late, but it was it took longer than I hoped, because my hope is always to set a date and beat it. You know, with Vampire Emmy, um, I it was a series that I had done years before, and my Kickstarter was to do a trade with a brand new issue thrown in there, and I hadn't written the character in about 4 years. So in one of my updates, I was like, "Hey, the reason that you haven't seen art yet is because I wrote the new script. I reread the original issue, and I was like, oh, the old shit is so much funnier. I'm gonna do the whole second issue over again now." So that makes me want to be more transparent when it's on me.
Yeah.
It's a little harder when it's on the artist. I do feel, one, I don't want to throw under the bus, and two, if I, I don't want to also, make them later. I feel like sometimes if they see that I'm aware of the lateness and I make
Mhm.
the fans aware of it, that they might be like, fuck this whole IP,
Well, maybe that's what happened to me. I have
Oh,
a book that's
I mean, dude, who
I have
knows?
a book that's super late. I've been
Yeah,
honest with the backers. I'm like, yo, it's the artist. We're waiting on him.
yeah,
He
yeah,
got maybe he's upset.
yeah, maybe, because you never really know what artists uh, until you're friends, until you have a certain rapport,
Mhm.
certain things that artists will take away from our interactions and how I run campaigns. Certain things will surprise me, like I've had an artist be like, "Why did you share my art in the update without asking me?" Those were just
Oh wow.
lies. And I was
I
like, yeah, I was like, well, the reason that I shared it is because I paid for that art, right?
yeah.
So
I
that's,
share. I've never experienced that. I share everything. I'll share a thumbnail.
oh
Like
yeah, me too, 100%.
whatever you submit to me, it's gonna go out. Like
Yeah.
if I feel it's cool that fans will like it, I'm gonna put it up.
Yeah, I made it clear that what I'm being sent is what I paid for. That this is, as much as it's a collaboration, it's a job. And what we're showing the backers is proof that what they paid for is coming to fruition.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's illuminating to hear some of our shared issues as far as that goes. And just I think that a lot of people, especially anyone who reads certain articles or who has a perception about Kickstarter, I think that it could be illuminating to hear how many things can happen. And when it comes down to it, I think that, you know, it stops at a person.
Yeah.
The choices that go into my books stop at me, and you're a person too. And I think
Yeah.
that, sometimes I think that media doesn't realize that, and that doesn't even give indie creators the same fairness that they would give a major publisher.
No,
It's very
that
frustrating. Yeah.
yeah, that is frustrating because I pre-order my books through DCBS, so I pay in advance for my books. Sometimes the bigger companies are late all the time, and no one says anything.
Yeah, there's no article about that. That's for sure.
No,
Yeah,
and it's
I've
something
done the
I've
same thing
already
for a
paid
long time.
for.
Yeah, I thought the same thing for a very long time. But yeah, I do want to talk a bit about your new Kickstarter, give you a chance to do the pitch there.
Right?
For my last live stream, I just put the link in afterwards, but maybe it's a good idea to do it now. Let me just look up LaFay. It's volume 1, right?
Yes, volume one.
All right, that's going to be in the comments right now, and I'll update the YouTube description because that's going to be where this shows up too,
Okay.
to have that there. So yeah, tell me about LaFay.
Okay, LaFay is an urban fantasy starring Morgan Le Fay. She got into a fight with Merlin, trying to take his powers. He beat her ass, took her powers, but since he loved her, he didn't kill her. He put her to sleep.
Okay.
Um, three witches found her. The Strange Sisters found her, like 1,500 years later. Found her, woke her up. She's still powerless, and they're like, "Yo, if you work for us, we'll help you get your powers back." So she goes and solves cases for them. So it's an urban fantasy noir.
That's cool. So it's the urban fantasy part of it is that it's set in modern times, right?
Yes.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm looking through the art. Anyone who pulls up the campaign can see it now. The art is really cool. Is this Corolla?
No. Oh, Corolla did the short story.
Oh, I knew I recognized something here. Yeah.
Yeah, Corolla did the short story. Mark Miguel Angel Ruiz did the line art.
Nice.
He's an amazing artist, very fun to work with. He did the line art. He's also a big part of the creative process. Like I said, we have our group chat. We talk story, so he implements some story ideas.
Yeah,
But
man.
yeah,
This looks really cool. Is this? I'm trying to see the credits. Is this you writing alone, or do you have a co-writer?
Oh no, Joshua Metzger and I. Joshua Metzger does most of the writing. I kind of just came up with the outline. I
Yeah,
created the character, came up with the outline. But he took off with it, does most of the writing.
that's cool. Yeah, this looks really good. You know, strong art, strong colors. I think that anyone, who I have that comes back and watches the YouTube videos is a lot of Zenoscope fans, and I think that this would appeal to that. You know, it has that same sense of urban fantasy, of magic, of strong female characters. This looks cool, man.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've been working on this for. This has been in development for years. It had like 3 different artists before we found Miguel. Like we'll start with an artist, we'll get into it, they quit, all right, whatever. We find someone, and luckily we found Miguel, and he fell in love with it.
That's
He
awesome.
helped. He helped us get we have a publishing deal in Spain. We have a publishing deal in
Oh,
Germany,
that's cool. Nice.
and yeah, that was all because of Miguel because he's a fan of the book.
Yeah.
He's proud of the book, so he went and shopped it to publishers in Europe.
That's really, really cool. Yeah, this book looks sick. Speaking of Zenoscope too, you worked I don't remember what the capacity was, but didn't you work with Raven Gregory?
We were gonna do a story, but it fell through. I don't know how. It's supposed to be for Speed of Light.
Oh,
He wrote
yeah,
it
yeah.
and it fell through. I don't know what the artist. I don't know if it was mine on the art end.
Yeah.
I was doing too much at the time. I was
Gotcha.
juggling an anthology plus our other series plus writing. Yeah, it was my fault. It fell through. He wrote a great script. I wanted to put it out. I gotta get Speed of Light back on track.
Yeah. That has to be the only project he's been involved in that fell out that wasn't his fault. I can say that. He's my boy. I make fun of him. He was in the chat calling me fat before, and he's a real fat fuck, So uh but yeah, man, it looks good. I think that anyone who checks out the campaign will definitely see a lot to like about this. And yeah, you and I work with some of the same artists sometimes too. I saw Corolla here. She's working on, for me, she's working on Prison Witch Volume 3. For you, can you remind me? Because I know that she does Love University, right?
Because Love University was just wrapped up. She does
Yeah.
Black Coffins.
Yeah, that's the one I saw. Yeah.
She does OBS.
God
She
damn.
does
How
a
many?
backstory in LaFay.
Yeah.
She's about to start a backstory in Warbound. So yeah, she does a lot.
That is a lot. Yeah, she's good. She's done Prison Witch for me, Destiny New York for 1 volume, and she did the Vampire Emmy story. She is quite a talent. I mean, dude, Italy is crazy. The
Yes,
artists that out of Italy are absolutely incredible.
they are amazing. They're easy to work with.
Yep.
Some of my favorite artists to work with come from Italy. Corolla
Yeah.
is one of them. Like
Yep.
I'm constantly beating her up. Her and Agnes Posa, the colorist.
Yeah. Definitely a strong talent there. But yeah, I mean, before we close out, do you want to say anything else? Do you have anything to get off your chest? Anything that that we didn't cover?
This might come off as petty. I don't want to be petty.
Please. I'm petty too, dude.
I just don't get how the whole I don't fulfill things is still going on when if I'm not fulfilling, why do I have so many campaigns that are successful?
Yeah.
Why are people showing their books online? I think people just need to move on from the past.
So, yeah, so you're saying that all of the talk of non-fulfillment, because I've seen it come at this. I have seen it more in the past with your stuff. Like you mentioned the Bleeding Cool stuff too, that article is used against you now, not by backers though, right? By people who disagree with you online, the fans.
Yeah, it's usually the blurs. When I call them out for not supporting Black people, they want to be like, why would we support a scammer? I'm like, you don't have to support me. Support literally any Black creator.
Wait, so how does that come into it though? They
just Google me.
Oh.
They Google me to find dirt on me, I guess. And it never fails. I'm like, support Black creators. They're like, why would we support you? You're a scammer. But I'm never saying support me. I'm saying support. I give them a list of people. Like, you don't have to support me.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a topic that I can't talk too much about, white guy here. But it's been, I've seen your post about this exchange and the fact that why do you think that people would search you though? Like are they like
Um,
are people offended by your point of view or do
they're
they just want to
yeah,
argue or what is it?
they say I'm abrasive with it. The way I say it, I can phrase it in another way.
Oh,
Which
okay, okay.
I mean, I do phrase it abrasively, but I'm phrasing it that way to spark conversation. Like if I say it nicely, support Black creators, you're gonna ignore it. But if I say, hey, you guys are stuck, you guys are obsessed with supporting the big two and Japan, but ignoring your own culture, it sparks conversation.
Okay, so it's let me get this right. I think that maybe for you, the conversation is more about um, mainstream companies co-opting something, while you're
Yeah,
saying indie creators are representing themselves.
yeah, they're giving you what they say they want Black representation.
Yeah,
They're looking for it from Japan, which I don't understand why.
gotcha,
Japan
gotcha, gotcha.
Japan should not be worried about you. You're not their audience,
Yeah,
and they're begging Disney and Discovery for it. But there's
yeah.
tons of Black creators giving that to you. There's like
So,
so many Black creators that are amazing.
so you'll say this, and it'll be interpreted as you being mad that they're not supporting your specific work,
Yeah,
and
which
then
I
they'll
don't.
pull that link, that bleeding cool link.
Yeah, which I'm not really saying support me. Like most of my work is not Black. Most of my work is aimed at a different audience.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, don't bring that up. Or be a creator. Like creators bring it up. Like I was gonna do a podcast,
yeah.
and then someone posted I was gonna do Kyron Silva's podcast. Someone posted under the link. I heard he doesn't fulfill. I would love to hear about this. I'm like, dude, I'm posting pictures all the time about me fulfilling.
Yeah.
I have
Well, hold on. Now, I mean, do you feel like do you feel salty that I ask questions about that
no,
article?
I know I want to talk. I don't mind talking about it.
Yeah.
It's just we should have a dialogue. It happened. It's the truth. Let's talk about it. But
Yeah,
like,
because I mean,
still,
I'm more interested in seeing, you know, I'm interested in seeing your reaction to bad press. I'm not
yeah,
interested in saying, "Oh yeah, you have to address these issues." I feel like you've already addressed that aspect.
yeah,
But it's
yeah,
interesting to me, like, I don't know if you agree, but I think that we live in a culture that is very eager to shame people and to use shame as
yes,
a weapon. And I'm interested in talking to people who have, who have felt that. And it's kind of crazy to me to hear that that's being brought back and used against you in a way that isn't really contextual, right?
yeah,
Like this isn't backers who was pulling the article saying, "Oh, where's my book? I saw this." It's
yeah,
people who you're arguing with who they're
yeah.
doing that.
It's people I'm arguing with are random creators when my name gets brought up.
Yeah,
Like it happened. My backers moved on from it. You
yeah.
guys need to move on from it.
Interesting. Would you just because you said creators just now, would you do a trio podcast with me and a certain creator?
Yeah, I don't mind.
We should do it, man. It'll be fun. I feel like it could be cathartic. You know what I mean?
I've already said what I've had to say to him, but yeah, I don't mind doing it in public. We
Yeah.
can debate. We can debate. We have totally different philosophies. His philosophy is deadlines very important.
Yeah.
My philosophy is product over deadline.
I mean, I see both ways. I've had the exact same conversation. I do Destiny New York as single issues through Black Mask, and I am really hard on Black Mask about we need a publishing schedule. I've done all the work. I have 35 plus issues of back content. It's already done. I need you to tell me when FOC is. I need you to tell me when release is, and we need a schedule for that shit. And Black Mask is like, but what if we don't have the right cover artists? We need to, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a conversation that I empathize with too. But yeah, I just think it would be interesting. And plus, what I've thought a lot about social media in general, not specifically your interactions, but maybe it applies. I think that when you see an avatar and you see a bunch of text, it becomes easy to dehumanize someone, and it becomes easy to, to be more angry, to be petty, to sort of be dismissive in a way, because you're not speaking face to face. I think that it would be interesting because I've seen you guys have the conversation. It'll be interesting to see it face to face, and I think that people can learn something too, because there's something to be said about how difficult the journey of making a comic is, and how
Mhm.
many things can go wrong during that journey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm open. See, he and I have talked on the phone. We have calm conversations on the phone. That's the weird
That's
part.
what I'm saying. When you get a humanizing element, it
Yeah,
changes things. It changes things. And as much as I do I like seeing some beef.
I
It's
do too.
very, yeah, it's very intriguing. Do you this is my last question, but when you enter into a bit of an online beef situation, do you feel anxiety or do you get excited?
It depends on the kind of situation. If it's talking about my company, I get a little bit of anxiety, like because I was like harassed for a year on my Kickstarter campaigns.
Yeah.
Somebody would post a bleeding cool article and just talk mad shit about me for a whole year. Every campaign I did, it wasn't even a backer. It was just like $1 just to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that anxiety does start to come up when it comes to my company. But when it's just random shit, I love to argue. I love to debate. Let's get it on.
Yeah, I have sensed a bit of 50 cent osity in how you take on some of these situations, which I find it entertaining, um but you said that you said someone would back your work for $1 in order to comment.
Yes, just to leave negative comments for a year on every campaign.
Bro, that's crazy.
And
That's
then
crazy.
he would argue with the backers that would be like, "Yo, I got my book though. Like, yes, yes, he's late, but I got my book. He's lying to you. He only sends it to you." I'm like, wait, he would literally argue with backers in the comments.
Yeah, because here's the thing. um I have my own thoughts. My tendency is that if I see a campaign that is late, my tendency is always empathy for the creator first, because I know what it's like. I know what it's like to create. I know what it's like when something isn't running along the schedule you hoped for, and it doesn't feel fucking good. Like
No, it
you
causes
are
a
at
lot of
home like,
anxiety.
oh fuck yeah, I'm fucking these guys over. You're at home thinking, I need this to come out soon, but more than that, the work that they get will be forever. That's what it's going to
Yeah,
be set as. So I definitely empathize with that. But at the same time, I also know that customers, backers won't always see that. So I empathize with them too. It does go both ways, where I try to look at it where I understand both versions. The harassment, though, I don't understand that. That's crazy.
I don't get that either. But like, luckily, my backers are awesome. They understand. They're
Yeah,
like, I have like some of the greatest backers. I can be super late or something, and they'll still back whatever is coming out.
yeah,
You build that rapport where they know, all right, it's late, but I'll get it eventually. And I'm
yeah,
glad that we all have to understand that they
yeah,
trust me enough.
yeah. That's good. That shows, you know, people who have been on Kickstarter for a long time build that up. You're one of those guys. I've been seeing your stuff for as long as I can remember doing Kickstarter, and yeah, it's cool to hear that you have the company in a better place than ever. I feel the same about my stuff. I think that it's always interesting to talk to guys who do this stuff on a month to month basis and see a bit more about the process. So thank you for coming on here, man.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, and anyone who wants to pledge to LaFay, I recommend it. You can check it out on Facebook. It is in the comments of the live stream from me, and if you're watching this after the fact on YouTube, it's going to be in the description about 5 minutes after this stops streaming. So Anything else, man?
Nope. It was awesome. Would love to do it again.
Yeah,
Nice to
absolutely.
finally talk in person. Well, via video. It was
Yeah,
awesome. This is fun.
absolutely, man. Yeah, no, it was definitely cool doing it. I will catch you on another one sometime, and yeah, we'll definitely talk more. And I will see you. I'll see you on Kickstarter. I'll see those campaigns doing well, and we'll talk about that little trio podcast too, man. Okay.
All right, cool.
All right, man.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.